At present, the Syrian Air Force successfully uses 40-year-old fighters, which should be in museums a long time ago. This is a necessary measure. There are an acute shortage of spare parts, fuel and ammunition in the country, which is torn by civil war for over 5 years. So the MiG-21 comes to help the Syrian Air Force. One of the areas of operations where the fighters perfectly proved themselves not only in their main role of interceptors, but also as bombers, have been in the city of Deir ez-Zor. We see an elderly pilot in the rank of colonel. This officer of the Syrian Air Force is an extra-class professional pilot. The experienced middle-aged pilot could leave his service for staff work, but due to the civil war he decided to stay. He's been flying on such an aircraft for many years and believes that it's still too early for him and his plane to retire. The usual pre-flight operations are servicing and testing of the onboard systems. There's a minimum of avionics, only a full manual control. The pilot before flying traditionally examines and touches the fuselage and the wings with his arms. Today, the Syrian pilots have a lack of ammunition, so they have to make their own bombs in small workshops. The main body of the bomb has visible traces of rust and uneven welding, but in general they work. The numbers of flights is limited, not only due to the state of the equipment, but also to the lack of fuel and explosives. The aircraft are capable of performing spot bombings, since they're flying below 2000 meters, and this is the SAM envelope of terrorists. Soviet equipment, which has been developed more than 50 years ago, is still successfully carrying out its tasks. This fact demonstrates excellent quality, easy maintenance and reliability, which has been provided by the Soviet military industry in the 60s.
You can guarantee that a 1950s designed MiG-21 or French Mirage would just hopelessly whip the F-35.
Well, Russian pilots benefit from the most advanced jets, but for their Syrian counterparts it's a different story. Some of their equipment dates back to the 1960s. RT's Murat Gazdiyev visited their home base near the city of Hama.
Almost half a decade of civil war has left the Syrian Air Force depleted, battered and bruised. Nevertheless, they're still flying on jets, some of which are older than my parents. The MiG-21, for example. In many parts of the world, you'll only find it in museums. In Syria, on duty. In its youth, this jet flew and fought in the skies over Vietnam. It is one of the most, if not the most, mass-produced jet in the world. It's easy to fly, it's easy to maintain, and the bombs are Syrian domestic ones. The rust and rough finish probably give it away, but Syria's military industry is not what it was.
It's a strong, tough plane and safe as well. It does everything we ask of it. On average, we fly 3 or 4 times a day.
This pilot says he now has 2,500 flight hours. That's more than 100 days spent in the cockpit. That's not the only rarity on the airbase. another Syrian aircraft, the MiG-23, which dates back to the 1960s. This particular jet has apparently just returned from a bombing run in the vicinity of Morek, a village that was recently seized by jihadists. One thing they don't seem to be short on is enthusiasm.
We are on full combat alert and carry out orders day or night. The pilots even compete to fly on missions.
Near the hangars, we found what the locals call the Hell Cannon Graveyard, homemade artillery captured from the rebels. Where the Syrian Air Force is criticized for using imprecise weaponry, including barrel bombs, the rebels incite terror among civilians with the Hell Cannon. It fires gas cans packed with nails and explosives up to 5 kilometers away, with little by way of accuracy.
We still don't understand these jihadists and their attempts to destroy our country, and why Western powers spread misinformation to the world about what is happening here.
Morad Gazdiev, RT from Hama Air Base, Syria.